Abhira is in deep trouble. She arrived at the police station with the ashes of her burnt effigy. Abhira's fight against lies and threats, Yeh Rishta Kehlata, takes a dramatic turn. The day started with a storm brewing, even before anyone could sense it. At Podar house, a shocking scene unfolded. Abhira's effigy was set on fire. The flames consumed the symbolic figure of her dignity, her struggles, and her family's peace. The air was heavy with tension, and Abhira could feel her heart tighten with every crackle of the fire. She knew this wasn't just an act of mischief. This was a direct threat aimed at her and the ones she loved. With a sense of urgency and determination, Abhira gathered the ashes of her burnt effigy and headed straight to the police station. Her hands trembled, partly with anger, partly with fear, as she held the evidence that screamed the injustice she had been facing. She had tried every avenue, yet justice seemed frustratingly out of reach. At the police station, Abhira's frustration spilled over. She demanded answers, her voice firm but trembling with suppressed rage. "We filed the complaint so long ago. What have you been doing? Who is responsible for this? What if someone actually harms us tomorrow?" Her eyes burned with both fear and fury. Every unanswered question added weight to her anger. Armaan, sensing her distress, tried to calm her down. "Abhira, let's take a moment. Let's talk this through." But even his soothing words struggled to reach her over the storm of emotions raging inside. She turned to him, tears threatening to spill. "Armaan, my 7-year-old daughter, she's being affected the most. How do I explain this to her? How do I protect her from this madness?" A police, attempting to placate her, explained their side. "Ma'am, we have conducted investigations. We've checked every lead, spoken to everyone, and followed all possible evidence trails. But as of now, we don't have any solid proof identifying who created this AI video or orchestrated this attack." Abhira's hands tightened into fists. "No solid proof? And yet my family is living in fear? I can't just sit back and do nothing." Her voice, though controlled, carried the weight of desperation and determination. The frustration of being powerless against a malicious act gnawed at her. Meanwhile, Armaan tried to hold her, grounding her in the moment. He knew how difficult it had been for her to reach this point. "Abhira, I know this is hard, but you're not alone. We'll find a way through this." Yet, even his reassurances couldn't fully soothe the storm inside her. The threats weren't just online or in hushed warnings. They were personal, invasive, and terrifying. The effigy, the AI videos, the sinister messages, all of it painted a dangerous picture for Abhira. Every warning felt like a knife aimed at the heart of her family, especially her little daughter. The emotional weight of protecting a child in such a hostile environment was crushing. As the police station humdrum continued, Abhira's frustration grew. She leaned forward, anger flashing in her eyes. "We have filed complaints months ago. What is your department doing? My daughter, my family, our safety isn't negotiable. I've done nothing wrong, yet we are paying the price for someone else's lies and schemes." The scene was tense. Armaan's usual calm composure was tested as he realized just how much the situation had escalated. He couldn't help but feel both anger and helplessness. The authorities were caught between procedural limitations and Abhira's very real fear. And in the middle of it all stood Abhira, defiant, enraged, and heartbroken, all at once. Outside, the world seemed unaware of the turmoil inside the walls of that police station. Inside, every heartbeat was amplified. Every second felt like a countdown to potential disaster. Abhira's daughter, innocent and unaware, was the most vulnerable, and Abhira felt a deep, protective rage for her. "I can't lose her to fear," she whispered to herself. "I won't allow this to happen." The tension thickened as the narrative of betrayal and deceit began to unravel. The AI video that threatened to destroy their reputation, the malicious attacks, and now the physical symbol of their suffering, the burnt effigy, all pointed toward a deeper, more sinister conspiracy. The upcoming episodes promised revelations that would shake everyone involved. It was not just about the effigy or the threats anymore. A larger plot was emerging. Varun's secret, long hidden, was about to surface, bringing with it unexpected twists. And amidst this, Tania's truth would be revealed to Krish, that she had invested in the very company responsible for creating the AI video that targeted Abhira and Armaan. The stakes were higher than ever. Krish, who already bore resentment toward Abhira and Armaan, now had a personal motive. Whether he would use this information to obstruct justice, to further malign them, or to create more chaos was yet to be seen. The tension between vengeance and morality would soon collide, making every decision critical. Meanwhile, Abhira's anguish and fear were palpable. She stood at the edge of despair, yet a spark of resilience kept her going. Despite the threats, despite the isolation, despite the systemic delays in justice, she refused to be a victim. She was fighting not just for herself, but for her daughter, her family, and for the truth to prevail. Armaan, walking alongside her, witnessed her strength. He knew that the next few days would test them in ways they could not imagine. "We will survive this, Abhira. Whatever comes, we face it together," he said softly. His words were a lifeline, anchoring her amidst the chaos. The story set the stage for a dramatic confrontation, a battle between deceit and integrity, fear and courage, manipulation and truth. The viewers were left on edge, wondering how Abhira would navigate the storm of threats, exposure, and personal vendettas. Would justice prevail? Would Krish act on the information he uncovered? And most importantly, how would Abhira protect her daughter from the fallout of a world that seemed intent on punishing her for a crime she did not commit? The first half of this episode ended on a gripping note, leaving audiences anxiously awaiting the next twist. Abhira's resilience, Armaan's support, the looming threats, and the shadow of betrayal promised an explosive continuation. Every scene carried the weight of emotion, every line hinted at suspense, and every heartbeat of the characters resonated with the viewers, making them part of this turbulent journey. A day at the Podar house had a quiet tension that no one could ignore. A notification pinged on someone's phone, and suddenly everyone felt a shiver of anticipation, but strangely, no one dared check their phones. The silence was almost theatrical, like the calm before a storm. Then Mayara, bright and energetic as ever, sat down with the family, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I want to make a birthday card for my friend Mayara," she said, bouncing in her seat. "She's turning 8, and it should be really special. Kajal, noticing Mayara's enthusiasm, turned to Kiara and said, "Bring my phone. I want to see some card designs." Kiara quietly obeyed, holding back her thoughts. In that small pause, Kajal suddenly realized something. Everyone had kept their phones aside, even if just for a moment. It was a rare break from the constant buzzing that had become the background of their lives. Even Kaveri and Manoj seemed tempted to sneak a glance at their devices, only to remember the collective decision to put them down for a while. Mayara's innocent curiosity then took a philosophical turn. "My friend is turning 8. How many days and hours does that make?" she asked, her little brow furrowed in concentration. Sanjay instinctively reached for his phone to calculate, but then froze, realizing he couldn't use it. "I can't calculate this without my phone," he muttered, looking around helplessly. Madhav, leaning against the kitchen counter with a small smirk, teased, "You're a lawyer, Sanjay. You should know how to solve things without technology." Meanwhile, Kaveri couldn't help but comment aloud, almost philosophically, "We've become so dependent on our phones. Every little thing we now need them for." Armaan, seeing the moment as a teaching opportunity, shared with Mayara, "Back in the day, before phones, we used landlines to call each other, and the excitement was real." Madhav added with a nostalgic grin, "And we had black and white TVs, not these colorful screens everywhere." Mayara's eyes widened with fascination. "Did you really have TVs, Kaveri?" she asked, incredulous. Kaveri laughed and shook her head. "No, sweetheart, we used lanterns and would go watch local street plays in the evenings. That's how we spent our nights." Mayara giggled and teased, "Wow, you're really old then." The room erupted in laughter, and the moment of nostalgia seemed to melt the tension in the air, even if just for a little while. Soon Mayara finished her card and looked genuinely proud. She turned to Abhira asking, "How do you spell Anayara?" Abhira gently replied, Why don't you check at school tomorrow and write it yourself? But just then, Tania, quietly and almost slyly, picked up her phone. Kaveri immediately noticed and scolded lightly. Can't you stay away from your phone even for a little while? Armaan, trying to lighten the mood, chuckled and said, Today, because of us, everyone stayed off their phones for 8 hours. Now, you can use it. Tania smiled and took the phone. Armaan, turning to the group, said with a calm seriousness, We need to learn to use our phones responsibly. Just a little self-control goes a long way. Krish, ever the pragmatist, remarked with a shrug, It was a different day, sure, but being off our phones like this every day, impossible. Our work would stop. Abhira, ever wise and gentle, added, Even if it's just 1 hour a day, we can be phone-free. It's important for our minds and hearts. One by one, the family picked up their phones again, the temporary freedom giving way to familiar routines. Mayara, still eager, decided to call Anayara, but the response she got was shocking. Anayara wouldn't attend the party. Mayara's face fell in confusion. Then, in a cold, formal voice, Anayara's mother instructed, Do not call Anayara again. Your friendship is over. Mayara's heart sank. Why? What did I do? She asked, her voice breaking. But the answer was sharp and final. Your family is different. You might teach her wrong things. Hurt and angry, Mayara felt betrayed, thinking Abhira and Armaan lied to me. Is this why everyone's turning away? She flung the card she had lovingly made, letting her frustration out. Just then, Abhira's phone buzzed with a reminder about Mayara's annual function. Anxiety replaced Mayara's anger. Tomorrow's my annual function. Will I even be allowed to participate because of my parents? She made a silent decision. She would not take Abhira and Armaan to the function. Meanwhile, Abhira and Armaan were discussing Mayara's annual function, both confused about the date. When they asked Mayara, she fibbed, saying it was 2 days later. Abhira, concerned for her preparation, said, Then I can fix your dress later. But Mayara insisted, No, I need it now. I have to practice. Curious, Abhira asked about Anayara's birthday plans. Mayara quickly lied, saying she wouldn't attend the party and would just practice at home. Later, stepping outside, she whispered to Abhira and Armaan, apologizing for lying. Both understood immediately what she had done. Abhira, with a gentle yet firm tone, said, Our little girl needs to learn to face fear, even when it's hard. Elsewhere, Vidya and Kaveri were fuming, reading cruel comments on a video. Krish sighed, Armaan and Abhira have left us no face to show. Madhav comforted Vidya, saying, People leave comments to vent. Don't waste your time on them. Kiara, gently trying to calm Kaveri, added, These people just want attention. Go to sleep now. Mayara, alone with her thoughts, felt guilt over her lie and silently prayed for forgiveness. Abhira, seeing Mayara's troubled face, worried for her. Armaan, reviewing the comments online, couldn't hide his anger. Abhira approached him, sharing his frustration, thinking, This video has changed everything. Our lives, our reputation, our peace. A day ended on a bittersweet note, worry, frustration, lessons about fear, and a family learning the delicate balance between technology and life. The suspense lingered. How would Mayara navigate her friendships now? Could Abhira and Armaan shield their family from the fallout of the malicious video? The emotional weight was heavy, the tension palpable, and every character was left pondering their next move. And as the episode closed, viewers were left anticipating the next twist, where Sanjay would warn Abhira about the cruel comments flooding online, and Abhira would wrestle with the question, should they apologize for something they never did? Every moment set the stage for an emotional, gripping continuation, leaving the audience eager for more. In this unfolding saga, one thing was clear: Abhira would not go down quietly. Her courage, her love for her family, and her relentless pursuit of justice were about to ignite a chain of events that would change everything. And as the viewers held their breath, the question lingered: who would emerge victorious? The lies that sought to destroy her, or the unyielding spirit of a mother and wife determined to reclaim her life?